Rachel V. up here.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm Rachel. I'm an addict. Hey, guys. Okay, let's see. Grateful to be in a meeting. If you're new or just coming back, you're welcome, wanted, and needed. Congratulations on everyone who took time. My clean date is 3/23/13. So it's pretty amazing stuff. What I was taught is when I speak, when I chair a meeting or take time or get asked to speak like this, that it's just really important that we read out of the literature. That's the bedrock of everything. So just to stabilize myself and get myself centered, I'm just going to read what I read every time I have a birthday meeting. And this is out of the basic text. All right. Some of us use, misuse, and abuse drugs and still did not consider ourselves addicts. Through all of this, we kept telling ourselves, I can handle it. Our misconceptions about the nature of addiction included visions of violence, street crime, dirty needles, and jail. When our addiction was treated as a crime or a moral deficiency, we became rebellious and were driven deeper into isolation. Some of the highs felt great, but eventually the things that we had to do to continue using reflected desperation. We were caught in the grip of our disease. We were forced to survive any way that we could. We manipulated people and tried to control everything around us. We lied, stole, cheated, and sold ourselves. We had to have drugs regardless of the cost. Failure and fear began to invade our lives. One aspect of our addiction was our inability to deal with life on life's terms. We tried drugs, combinations of drugs, to cope with a seemingly hostile world. We dreamed of finding a magic formula that would solve our ultimate problem, ourselves. The fact was that we could not use any mind-altering or mood-changing substance, including marijuana and alcohol, successfully. Drugs ceased to make us feel good. At times, we were defensive about our addiction and justified our right to use, especially when we had legal prescriptions. We were proud of the sometimes illegal and often bizarre behavior that typified our using. We forgot about the times when we sat alone and were consumed by fear and self-pity. We fell into a pattern of selective thinking. We only remembered the good drug experiences. We justified and rationalized the things that we did to keep from being sick or going crazy. We ignored the times when life seemed to be a nightmare. We avoided the reality of our addiction. Higher mental and emotional functions, such as consciousness and the ability to love, were sharply affected by our use of drugs. Living skills were reduced to the animal level. Our spirit was broken. The capacity to feel human was lost. This seems extreme, but many of us have been in this state of mind. Ooh. I am so fucking grateful not to be there. That just brings me right back to all these memories. And today, because I have an ego, I'm thinking, what am I going to say? It's oh yeah. And I just kept bringing it back to you're just going to tell your story. You don't got to think too much about it. You don't need to make something up and manipulate the crowd. You can just be honest and tell your story, right? It doesn't have to be this opportunity to look super cool, right? So that's that ego still trying to run shit. And I just prayed about it, and it's whatever's meant to come out is going to come out. Just a little bit about my history. All the way back before I found drugs, what I know is that I came from a household where, I never seen my parents together. That was never something I experienced. I also got a lot of love from my family, and I feel really grateful for that. It was also really confusing because both households were very different. My mom was kind of that hippie, like, go with the flow, like, smoked weed with her when I was, like, 11 kind of mom for a long time. And then my dad was, like, this super religious dude, which ended up, he's in the rooms too, but that's later. So it was a little confusing, right? I was getting a lot of mixed messages, and I was just kind of going with it. And what I know is from a really, really young age, I felt very anxious. I felt really uncomfortable in my own skin as a kid, like a social anxiety kind of feeling. And what I know for me is like the first distraction from myself was boys. You know what I mean? Like getting that attention and directing my focus on them. And like as time went on, that just moved into, just a regular, I don't even know if normal, I don't know, like just the smaller drugs or whatever, right? And what I know is like I just kind of did whatever I wanted to do, I just didn't really have a lot of rules, and I just didn't really care about any rules that were trying to be put on me, and I just kind of did whatever the fuck I wanted to do. And that included a lot of like drinking and smoking weed and all those like party drugs at first. The scariest part for me is like as soon as I think I was maybe 15 or whatever age, young, and well, I think about kids now, and I'm like, geez, these little kids, I was a little fucking kid. I was 15 trying to be a fucking adult, and I found opiates. And it was a wrap. Like, that was a wrap. Like, it was like instant love. Like, not only did I stop caring about everything, I didn't care about what you thought, I didn't care about that, I didn't care about this. All my anxiety was gone. I felt good, I felt very out of control in my life, and that was like this illusion of feeling like I was in control. And so that was really when things like kicked off. And I mean, there's so much good stuff like in my recovery part, but just to like fast forward to give you an idea of, which I'm sure lots of you already know and have experienced, things got way worse. It went from, dibble-dabbling with pills and opiates and skipping school and doing whatever the fuck I wanted to having a needle in my arm and using against my will, being in a bathroom with no electricity, with, hooked up, had one lamp hooked up with an extension cord to the neighbor's unit, you know what I'm saying? Like, just trying to get fucking well. Dirty clothes, blood splot, all that nasty, dirty, like, it wasn't cute, you know what I mean? Sure, like the book said, like, some highs were great, but really, that shit brought me to an animalistic level where I pushed out everyone who loved me, and I didn't think I could get clean. I did not think that I could. I didn't know anyone in my life at that time that had done heroin and been clean afterwards. And there was one point before I got to that point where like I was using it against my will, there was no other way, where I was like cool with it. Like, I'm just going to be a junkie forever. It's cool, because our disease fucking lies to us and tries to keep us isolated and in that shit until we either die or, just go to the depths of fucking hell, right? Anyway, so that just was awful, and if you're in anything like that, like, just keep coming back. Like, you can find peace, real peace and serenity. So a turning point, right? So I'm out there, I'm doing the thing. I've been to treatment lots of times. I've been to detox. I've been to, out of state. I've been, I've tried to run for myself. I've done all the things that the book talks about. And I remember one day, I remember this shit clearly. And I was loaded, I was very numb. But I remember I was on the back porch of a friend's house, and, I was high, and I just remember it being, sunny. And I remember, God, I haven't talked to my mom in a while, I haven't talked to her in a while. I probably should call her. By the way, she's a normie, right? Her smoking with me and stuff, she just thought that would be okay. She didn't know she was dealing with a fucking drug addict when she did that, And I remember, I'm I haven't talked to her in a minute, I should probably check in with her. And so I called her, and I called her. I was like, hey, what's going on? Just calling to check in. She said, don't call me. She said, don't call me. She said, I'm in the process of letting you go. And even through all the clouds and the numbness and everything like that, that did something to me. That fucking struck through, and of course in the moment I'm like, this bitch. I'm like, how dare you? That's what my head said in that moment, I'm not dead, But the thing is this is a mother who has been waiting for the call for years. Just waiting. Sick, dude. Because all my family had basically given up on me at that point. And so me being me, I was like, no, I'm gonna get clean. I'm going to Hooper. I'm gonna get, yeah. She's like, seriously, don't call me, So I showed up at her house. During a party, with my crack dealer dude, you know what I mean? I'm like, I'm sucked up, dude. She's a fucking mess. And of course, dude, codependency runs deep in our family, so she let me stay. It's just the truth. That's the stuff I'm working on now. And, and I'm like, don't worry. And somehow, through all the years of getting loaded, somehow I still had my little hoopty green Corolla. I don't know how I had that thing the whole time, but I was like, don't worry. I'm going to make it to Hooper, And, she just knew I was full of shit. But just to, prove a point, because that's just who I am, You tell me I can't do something, then it just does something to me, and I have to fucking do it, This is a weird thing. Stubborn. And so look, I'm driving, I got trapped in the bathroom for a while, right? I got trapped, and then I'm like, I gotta go, I gotta get to Hooper, And so I go, and everybody had told me, you never get in on your first try with Hooper, because I hadn't been to Hooper at that point. I'd been to lots of places, but not Hooper, right? So I'm thinking, I'm hitting traffic, but I'm gonna go just to say I went. I'm gonna at least make it to the building, right? Go, pull up, there's no fucking parking. I'm like, shit. I'm like, okay. Boom. Right in front of the door. Of course, dude. If you know where Hooper is, there's not a lot of parking right there, right in front of the door. I'm like, parallel, the worst parking job in the world. I'm like, the door's shut, though. And so I'm like, okay, they're probably not going to let me in, but I'm going to get out. And sure enough, someone comes out the door with a paper in their hand. Hey, are you here for Hooper? I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, yeah. Yep, I am. I got quarters. I'm ready just in case. Anyway, so no one ever gets in on their first try, right? And so I go in, name, sit down. I'm so ready to get out of there. And Rachel, I'm like, shut the fuck up. I go up to the front, they're like, hi, are you ready to stay here? I'm like, oh, I don't know, but again, I'm like, not really thinking I'm going to stay clean. I've never been able to before, whatever. I'll just do this, get out, do this, whatever. Yeah, I'll stay, right? Listen, dude, my higher power just lined it up, dude. From the moment I got that little parking spot, they let me in, my higher power's like, now's the time. This is the moment, right now. I did not know it yet, but my higher power did. Because what happened after that is I stayed in Hooper. I got connected to a woman that saved my fucking life. She gave me a chance, and I respected her immediately, also because she scared the shit out of me. She's also in this room. But, listen, my higher power knew that I was ready, and, it all fucking aligned, right? And so I got into this program. I listened to what they said. Still didn't have a lot of hope, but I was just like, okay, I'm just going to do what she says and see what happens. And so I did what she said. I was able to stay clean. There's one thing I did not listen to, which is stay the fuck out of a relationship. I did not listen to that. If you're new, they say that shit for a reason, okay? Seriously, if you're like me, you just have to learn the hard way, then you just get to learn the hard way and you just get to deal with the consequences, right? So I did not listen. I met the dude in treatment, right? Lied to this mentor for a year while I was in the building. Just skating through, smiling, everything's great. And but staying clean, And so I get some clean time. Just so you know, I also got a sponsor and immediately started working with that sponsor. I started doing steps. I fucking bought in, you guys. I'm that type of person. I'm an all-in kind of person, right? So she said jump, I said let's fucking go, right? So I started doing the steps. I wanted peace. I wanted real peace. I wanted real relief. When I got here, I was so uncomfortable in my own skin. I was paralyzed with fear, you guys. I was so uncomfortable crawling in my own skin, and it took time. And it took time for that desire to get loaded. It took time for that to lift, but that shit lifts. It did. It was the first magical, big magical in-my-face thing. One day I woke up and I didn't want to get high. I could not fucking believe it. So this works, right? Anyways, fast forward to the guy. So I start the life, right? Start working my steps, start getting a little job, do the things, build this life with this dude for 5 fucking years, you guys. For 5 years. We've started, we buy some houses. He's a contractor. He's flipping houses. We're doing recovery houses. We're fucking doing all this stuff. And I think, I'm a planner. This is not the greatest, but I thought I had a plan. I thought that the path was laid again, right? I thought, oh man, I'm going to be a mom soon. I just can feel it. I can't wait. We're going to get married. We're going to do all this shit. And so we're building this life. We're about 5 years in, and we get married. And I'm so excited. But the thing is deep down, I knew something wasn't fucking right, and I did not listen to it. For whatever reason, I don't know, but I didn't listen to it. I did not listen to my own intuition. And what I found out 3 months after we got married from some random woman on Facebook is that this motherfucker had been cheating on me for years. You know what I mean? And I had never, ever experienced pain like that clean. It was, I felt in that time that my heart had shriveled up and just like was a little dried raisin. Like I felt so much fucking pain. I called my sponsor. I said, listen, I didn't get clean to feel like I was going through withdrawals again. I'm fucking clean and I feel like physically I'm going through withdrawals. What? She's like, that's heartbreak. It's heartbreak. She said, don't get loaded, And that shit hurt, man. And I did not get loaded. 10 minutes, oh my God, okay. Okay, so that shit really did hurt. It did. And I just tapped into it, but guess what? I forgave him. It's all good. You do you. And the thing is like, that experience ignited something in me, you guys. Like, this whole nother person. And I do forgive easily, but I don't forget, right? And I forgave him, and he ended up relapsing and has lived his own little journey since then. But for me, I was like, I'm never gonna ever financially depend on a man again. I'm never gonna do that, because that's what I had done. I became a real estate agent. I decided, you know what? I'm gonna get rental properties. I'm gonna fucking do whatever I wanted, because my sponsor said when I got here, she said people get here and they have this little box that they're living in. She said, you don't gotta live in the box, dude. You can do anything you want. Anything. You want to travel? Go travel. I've traveled all over the world. You want to become a real estate agent? You want to own rentals? You want to do whatever the hell? Do it. You want to become a mom? It'll happen, I did not think that was going to happen. And it was so hard to wait. Because after the divorce, 3 months after we got married, I didn't make a mess in the rooms. But I made a mess outside the rooms. And the process was really fucking slow to heal. And that was on me, And the cool thing is like, I'm a pretty firm believer in like, things happen exactly as they're supposed to, right? That dude was not the dude. That was not the dude. And so through all that, I met the dude. I met the actual dude, right? And like, we both kind of came in those moments from not great experiences, right? Like, we're coming from pain. We have a lot of baggage. We're both in the rooms, but we got some clean time. And like, our relationship, which I'm married to him now, just so exciting. And just happened last August, so you know what I mean? But like, the deal is like, it was not perfect. It was kind of messy at first, but we figured it out, right? Like, we have figured it out. When you get into a relationship where you respect and love the other person and you're committed to making it work, trying to figure out how to communicate when shit gets hard, that is the hardest thing. One of the hardest things I've ever had to do in recovery also is just talk about my feelings, and have it land like I'm trying to communicate it. Like, oh, you are now mad. Great. So clearly what I said wasn't what I meant to say, So it's just, my point is like, I'm married in a loving relationship I never thought I could have. I've never really seen that growing up. I have a son. I am a mom today, which is like, the most magical thing I think I could ever experience. I love this human so much, and he's 2. So the terrible 2 thing, that's very real, you guys. Look, my problems look different today, okay? They do. I'm saying life was crazy, and I just stayed clean, right? I stayed clean. I kept with my sponsor. I kept doing the work. I kept showing up. When I was in all that pain, you know what I did? I came to meetings and I cried. dude. I stuck with my women who held me while I was dying inside. So if you are struggling or you're going through something where the pain is so immense, just fucking stay. Just call somebody. I have relationships in these rooms today that I never could dream that I have. I have best friends that would run and show up for me no matter what. They're my family. 5 minutes. Part of me is like, I'm just going to talk shit about my 2-year-old. No, I'm just kidding. I gotta get it out. No, I'm just kidding. I was playing. He's so great. Dinosaurs. I've watched Jurassic Park 100 times. And like, look, you might judge me for letting him watch that. I don't care. Listen, as soon as he wakes up, dinosaurs. It's not any Jurassic Park. It's just one of them. One of the newer ones, anyway. You know what? So I only have 5 minutes left. So the things that I'm working on right now, it doesn't stop, right? Like I'll just talk for me. I don't get to do the steps one time. Like I get to continue to do the work. I get to continue to show up. My sponsor has 35 years. She still shows up. She shows up because we give what we've been freely given, right? We show the fuck up for everyone else that's just coming in. We don't get to just get clean, get these beautiful lives, and dip out, Well, at least that's what she taught me. And so that's why we keep coming. That's why I'm here today, even though all day I'm like, oh, I don't want to, And what I get to deal with today is I've had this, just anger, this anger and this chest anger, directed at a certain friend. And the deal is I was doing some reading, right? Because for me, when the pain gets great enough, my tools come and they kick up, dude. I'm like, the pain is great. I am very uncomfortable. I'm really angry. I don't want to be angry. I want to lead a life in joy and love and peace and serenity. I want to be a kind, loving person, right? But I also have this little rage person. That's what I was nicknamed as a child, the rage. So the deal is right now, as I was reading some literature, and it was saying whatever you're dealing with right now that makes you uncomfortable, whatever is in front of you that's pissing you off, or you're feeling resentful, or whatever, right? Any negative emotion, it's because you got a fucking lesson to learn. There's a lesson. This is what this reading was saying. It's you got a lesson to learn, and that shit's not going to go away until you've gotten what you're supposed to get out of it. So I'm really trying to change my perspective, because we do have control over our perspective, right? We can choose how we're going to walk into each day. Anyways, so I'm grateful to be here. I think that's about time. So, yeah, I'm Rachel. I'm an addict.